Now at 4, managing the impact of flooding here in Indiana. The high-tech tool now being used to provide real-time data.
And unfortunately, we have some more rain on the way. Some of it's going to be heavy. We're going to time you out from sunshine to sogginess.
Plus, probable cause to hold the Trump administration in criminal contempt. The latest twist in deportation flights. Live from Indy, you're watching 13 News.
Hey there, glad you're here with us this afternoon. I'm Dustin Grove.
And I'm Felicia Lawrence. And also ahead this hour, an important conversation for parents and teens.
This is an important one for sure. Cyber safety. Frankfort police are going to be joining us here in studio to discuss the online dangers, the warning signs, and how knowing all of that led to an arrest this week involving a Central Indiana school teacher. But we begin here at 4 o'clock with a look at the major damage flooding has done here in Central Indiana.
So we saw some of that flooding earlier this month. Our Rich and I went to Bartholomew County today, where researchers are looking at the impact on Hoosier farmland.
These IU students are collecting sensors from this farmland put in place just before the flooding. The sensors measure water depth from pressure and the speed of moving water. The research area is in Jonesville in southern Bartholomew County in the floodplain of the East Fork of the White River. This is the view from above now. This is what it looked like here at the crest of flooding.
The big flood gave us an opportunity to really understand how these big events reshape landscapes. Because an interesting thing that we want to understand is whether or not the soil is being eroded gradually over time, or if it's these big floods and these big whopping events that do all the erosion, and then the landscape sits around and waits for the next big one.
IU earth scientist Doug Edmonds says about 20% of this area has lost about a foot of topsoil from erosion in the last decade. The deepest red on this map of the area indicates significant erosion. This drone uses LiDAR, light detection and ranging, to measure the topography of the landscape and how much it was changed by the flood.
A very valuable piece of equipment that sends out 100,000 pulses of light per second. Each of those pulses of light gives us an exact measurement to the ground and any point that it hits. And with that data, we can make a lot of measurements.
You can still see the flood channels that flowed through the field and left behind sand.
It's pretty rare to see sand brought up from the river and transported all the way into the floodplain. The flooding is pretty frequent, but it doesn't often always bring sand with it.
This is one of the sensors. It's anchored in the ground and it floats. So in still water, it's going to stand straight up. But as the floodwaters move, so does the sensor, measuring the velocity of the water.
Water that is changing the Hoosier landscape. In Jonesville, Rich Knight, 13 News.
Well, fascinating story, Rich. Thanks for sharing that. And that data obviously extremely valuable. As we look back over the last 30 days, percent of rainfall, not a shock to see these numbers, 2 to almost 250% above normal rainfall over the last 30 days. So the last thing we want to see is the map I'm about to show you, and the bulk of this is going to happen Friday night into Sunday night. Yes, there's going to be a lot of areas, sadly, that are going to get 2 to over 4 inches of rainfall, most of which is going to happen here across central Indiana. So when you see that map, know that over Easter weekend, in addition to the potential for some severe thunderstorms, there's going to be areas of flash flooding a little higher than normal. So that's something that we'll be monitoring closely. Quiet for us here this evening. Look back to the west, a little channel of shower action. We're going to have some of that as we go into tomorrow, but not this evening. It's just perfect outside. Not a whole lot of wind, and we're near 60 degrees. We'll talk about the shower chances tomorrow and get you into that weekend again coming up in a few minutes.
Yeah, it is a great afternoon out there.
Yeah.
John,
Beautiful.
Thank you. US 31 back open this afternoon after a deadly crash earlier today in Westfield. It happened this morning in the northbound lanes near 161st Street. Police say a car headed south crossed the median and then crashed into an oncoming semi. The car's driver was killed. The semi driver was hurt.
We're following a developing story right now from the State House. At any moment, we should be getting an update on the state's new revenue forecast.
And that forecast will play a key role in Indiana's next 2-year budget. Our State House reporter Emily Longnecker is all over this today. She joins us now to explain.
Yeah, well, today the state budget agency is releasing its revenue forecast, and that's where we learn how much money the state is expected to bring in to help pay for everything that the state wants to spend money on in the budget over the next 2 years. Now, the budget proposal has not been passed yet, and that's because lawmakers have to see what is in this presentation to see if the numbers all line up. Will there be enough money in to cover what all these items in the budget cost? Now, at the start of the session, Republican leaders warned that this would be a budget session where belts would be tightened and to tamper down expectations on proposals for spending and any kind of expansion or new programs. Those warnings were based on December's revenue forecast that predicted that any growth in revenue would be very modest this year, not what like we have seen in past budget cycles, and that growth would be gobbled up, likely it was predicted, by increased spending in Medicaid. That's something that Republican lawmakers have said needs to be reined in, that spending on Medicaid, and we've seen some bills to try and do that with a proposal in the Senate to limit who can be covered by Medicaid. Let's also not forget the federal money that was available during COVID is not there any longer, and there's inflation. Things cost more. So how could the state bring in more money if it had to? Well, this week, Democrats in the Senate offered several amendments to the budget, and those amendments propose raising the cigarette, alcohol, and gaming taxes. All of those amendments were defeated. Republican State Senator Ryan Mishler, who is the Republican architect of the Senate's budget proposal, said really that nothing is off the table and that today's presentation would give lawmakers a better idea about how to move forward in these final weeks when it comes to the budget. Dustin?
All right. Emily, thank you. We'll see you again at 5 o'clock. A U.S. Senator from Maryland is in El Salvador today pushing for the release of Kilmar Abrego Garcia.
Senator Chris Van Hollen has said that he would make this trip, and if the mistakenly deported man was not returned by midweek, he would do that. Van Hollen represents the state where Abrego Garcia lived. In a video posted to social media after landing, he says that he's looking forward to meeting with the team from the American Embassy, and he said that he hopes to meet with high-level government officials from El Salvador.
Back here in Indy, construction is now underway for a new $8 million fire station on the east side.
Community leaders broke ground today on a new station, Station 20. It is on Emerson Avenue, south of East 16th Street. The new station will actually be the fourth Station 20 to serve IFD. The current Station 20 has served the community for more than 70 years. So this is what the station will look like once construction is finished. It is designed to reflect architecture in the neighborhood.
This fire station, it's more than just bricks and mortar. It's a symbol of our shared commitment to protecting one another. It means better resources for our firefighters. It means a new community space for neighbors in Little Flower, and peace of mind for every family that calls Little Flower home.
And once completed, it will ensure that our neighbors here on the Near East Side are getting the help that they need as quickly and as efficiently as is possible.
The new building will house more than 15,000 square feet for IFD operations. Construction is expected to wrap up by mid-July of next year. And the Pacers continue to prep for its first-round playoff series against the Bucks. So remember, Game 1 is Saturday at 1 o'clock at Gainbridge Fieldhouse.
Dominic Miranda has been at practice all week long, and today he previewed the Pacers' first-round series with Locked On Pacers' Tony East. Here's part of that conversation and how injuries to Milwaukee might play a big role this series. Take a look.
Didn't lose a home game until the Eastern Conference Finals. We saw how huge home court advantage was for the Pacers a year ago. Okay, so it's a rematch, and there are some parallels between the two teams, but from a year ago, but a lot of differences too. I mean, Giannis didn't play that entire series a year ago. Damian Lillard was in and out. Now kind of flipped, right? How big is Giannis being here for healthy? Obviously, he's one of the best players on the planet, but Damian Lillard also questionable Shams Charania of ESPN saying he will not be ready to go for the start of the NBA playoffs. How significant is that? But Giannis playing as well. We heard the Pacers this week say whoever's out there, the intensity, the focus is going to remain the same, but how big of a deal is that?
Yeah, Giannis, you could argue, and I will right now, that he's the best player in the Eastern Conference, right? Like that is their now challenge in front of them. And last season they had a lot of success sending different types of coverages at him. You cannot defend him with just one player. It's a team effort thing. It's going to take one, sometimes two or three guys all locked in right on him to stop him. That changes everything, right? That kind of gravity and impact gets other guys open. The Bucks lead the league in three-point percentage this year. I think a big part of that is because of Giannis and the attention that he commands and demands from a defense just by being so good. But they don't have Dame, who is one of their best shooters and a premier offensive talent. He averaged nearly 30 points a game in the season against the Pacers last year, right? It was awesome before, like you said, kind of going in and out, dealing with injuries himself. They've had good reserves step up in those guard spots. Kevin Porter Jr. has played well for the Bucks, but obviously a major drop from an all-star level talent. So a similar story to last year, that injuries will be a major plot in the series, but it's a different guy and way different, and I think this year more difficult challenges.
I love the insight there. You can catch Dom's full playoff preview with Tony East on WTHR+. And of course, we're going to continue to have Pacers playoff preview coverage all week long on the air and on WTHR+ and into the weekend. We're just getting started here at 4 o'clock. Still ahead, a tumultuous town hall, the chaos that erupted during Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene's recent speech in Atlanta.
Plus, phone dangers for students. Frankfort police will join us with details on their cyber awareness program and how it recently led to the arrest of a local teacher.
We've got sunshine right now, but we're getting you ready for a wet weekend ahead in the forecast.